If there is one topic that I know deeply what it's like to be in, it is this one. Today, we're talking all about shifting from chaos and reactivity to more proactive leadership. And man, I think this is the most common experience as entrepreneurial mothers, because the survival mode feeling is very real. And having to make calculated decisions feels like we never have enough time to do it. So as you've listened to this team-focused series, I hope that you have, number one, downloaded the Team Focus private podcast and gotten all the resources, because those are free and those episodes go so much deeper into your mindset and your perspective as a leader. And those resources are easy to plug into your business. And it's just a gift for you to have because you need it. Number two, I hope that you have really thought about your business and how you want your business to feel and how your team is directly related with that feeling, because that is the truth. And when we are thinking about any sort of change, whether that's in our business or in our life, the reality is that we have to go first. And it is the one thing that keeps people stuck. Because as entrepreneurs, we love to tinker with all the external bullshit. We love to look at and change all of the things outside of us when we feel like it's not working. But looking within us, holding up a mirror, taking responsibility, having awareness enough to know that we're the creators of the problem, and then doing something about the problem, that requires a level of courage and bravery that will change your life. And this is why my approach is so different and works so much better. Because there's a lot of people who may advise or coach on your business on the continued strategic and tactical changes. But the truth is, strategic and tactical changes are going to forever be a part of your business, because the external world, the economy, society, industries change. And that is out of our control. It's how we respond to it that's always within our control. And so while strategic guidance and action matters, you will find yourself in the same place time and time again if you do not break the cycle by shifting yourself. And so today we're talking about specifically how to shift you and your leadership so that it is proactive instead of chaotic, instead of reactive, instead of draining you. Chaos in your business feels like you're constantly putting out fires. It feels like you're constantly running from one problem to the next. It feels like you're working on a million different things at one time and you feel scattered. It feels like you can never get ahead or catch up. But proactive leadership feels like leading. It feels like more control. It feels like you're the one running your business. It feels and is having clarity and confidence in your day to day. This is the most impactful shift that my clients make, because when you're burned out, when you're frustrated, when you're consistently stressed and emotionally heightened, you cannot sustain that. You cannot stay there. And it will eventually manifest physically, which is why so many of my clients, when they come to me, they have this almost opposing two people, one on each side, one telling them to push, to grow, to reach their potential, to honor their ambition, to go after their dreams. And then another one that's like, hey, I'm dying over here. Please sit down. It's the indecisiveness of whether to push forward or pull back, the feeling of it never being enough, the lack of contentment. That feeling tells us we need to change. We need to change. Some of the signs of reactive leadership and that you're stuck in the chaos cycle is that you always feel like you're in that survival mode. So when my clients come to me and they feel like they're in this survival mode, they feel like it's just ticking the boxes. It's one thing to the next. There's like this sort of light at the end of the tunnel that they keep seeing, but it feels like the goalpost keeps moving. And so the way that we actually make the transformation for them to feel back in control of their businesses and clear and confident in where they're going is we change their internal operating system. Your internal operating system is the way that you make decisions, the way that you think, the patterns that you have, the cycles that you go through, the way that you communicate. It is all about you. And we change this internal operating system by identifying who we want to be and identifying what we're actively doing that is opposed to that, and then being uncomfortable and willing to change it. What this creates is a woman who feels differently, which means that when problems arise, when team things happen, when motherhood throws you off your schedule, the way that you hold yourself and the way that you respond to that is completely different. And what that creates long term is your central nervous system is no longer fried. And you're actually able to maintain a level of poise and confidence through the peaks and valleys, rather than feeling like your emotions are dependent on how your business is going. So how you know you're stuck in this chaos cycle is if you feel like you're always in survival mode. And because you're always in survival mode, you don't have any time to plan. I recorded an episode about my VIP day that I did for myself. And it was such a great reflection of and reminder of how easy it is for us to just focus on what's right in front of us, because there's so many things that are always in front of us, and how hard it is to make the difficult decisions to carve time out that is dedicated to planning and higher level visionary work that actually moves the needle forward. This is why my Founder Circle retreat is so impactful, because it forces that separation that you know that you need. This is why my VIP day is so impactful, because it forces you out of the day-to-day. It forces you to turn off distractions. It forces you to shut down interruptions, and it gives you space to think and plan. So if you're feeling like your planning is rushed or there's a lack of planning because you're always in survival mode, that's telling us that we need to break this chaos cycle. If your team is confused, if you often get feedback that your employees are unsure of their priorities or they are unsure of the direction of the business, that's a sign you're in the chaos cycle. If you often feel like you're riding that emotional roller coaster, if you feel overwhelmed, if you feel frustrated, if you feel like you're doing a million things, but you're stuck, that's a sign you're in the chaos cycle. Proactive leadership changes everything. Because when you're a proactive leader, it's going to set the tone for your team and for your clients and truly for your life. Because when you're a proactive leader, you have peace of mind. And that peace of mind comes from having a clear roadmap, a clear plan. It comes from stepping out of the box checking and the day-to-day going from Slack to email to clients to meetings to, it takes you out of that and gives you a second to breathe and think. Because a lot of times we don't realize that we've formed this habit of reactivity because we just have these busy businesses with a million things to do. And so our thought process is, well, I have a million things to do, so I'm going to do them, right? You can't not do them. They're your responsibility. Until you realize years down the road that you've been doing that for so long that your business has now started to run you because you're just reacting to everything that's throwing at you. So if you want to shift away from that reactivity and you want to be more proactive with your leadership, you first need to audit your time. This is why this is the first section of my VIP business assessment. You need to look at where you're spending your time and what is draining you. You also need to prioritize planning. I shift all of my clients to have 1 day a week at minimum where you have no meetings, and this becomes your CEO day. This is about intentionality. This is about vision. This is about strategies. This is about anything that is forward focused, that is higher level thinking, that is growth planning, that is not the nitty gritty of the day to day. So you need to figure out where your time is going. You need to create structure that allows you to prioritize planning, ideally with 1 day a week for a CEO day. And then you need to be able to effectively delegate. You can listen to the entire episode on delegation because I talk through how to delegate correctly, mistakes people make when they're delegating, what you need to do to delegate better to get the results that you want. All of that is in the delegation episode. So you can head back and listen to that if you haven't already. There's also a delegation planner available in the team management bundle. If you have not downloaded the free team management bundle, this is a free private podcast that is 5 short episodes that are directly connected to changing your leadership, your mindset, your perspective so that you can lead your team better. And it has 5 accompanying downloads that are templates that you can implement right into your business, including the delegation planner, hiring, onboarding, performance review, meeting agenda, and quarterly planning. I think I said them all. Anyways, incredible resource that is going to excel your leadership and get you better results in your business. So you'll audit your time, prioritize visionary planning time, delegate effectively and efficiently to the right people. You want to make sure that you have team members that you trust and the execution that is outside of your expertise or that is just draining for you so that you can focus on the things that are heavily impactful in your business. The other area that I want you to look so that you can become a more proactive and honestly calm is the word that keeps coming to me. Like my clients, they want peace of mind. They want a sense of calm. They want to be able to have like moments where they're excited about the business and focus and know that they're growing going forward, and also just have moments where they're completely present and at peace where things are and enjoy the life that they have. And so it's important for us to also think about the habits that you have, because again, when your business is running you, it's very easy when you wake up in the morning for that to be the first thing that you think about or that you do. So something that I've implemented for 2025 is, previously, if you know anything about me, you know that I get up at 5 a.m. You also know that I hate getting up at 5 a.m., but it's what works for the season of life that I'm in with little kids. And so that's what I do, because it allows me 2 hours in the morning to focus solely on me. So previously, my first hour of the day was dedicated towards my journaling and my reading. And I would always do that without my phone. And then I would get my phone, and then I would go out and work out. And a lot of times during my workout, if I'm being honest, I would check in with some work stuff, because I'm like, oh, I'm, doing it between sets, or, whatever sort of justification that I was making in my head. And then I realized that I was actively taking away, like, with the intention of that time, because that 2 hours is supposed to be for me and nobody else. And so in 2025, I have completely removed my phone from that 2 hours. So now I get up at 5 and I don't touch my phone until sometimes almost 8 o'clock, because by the time that I come in, get kids ready for school. So between 7 and 8. But the point being, it is important to really think about your morning routine. You want to create intentionality. You want to be able to set yourself up to focus and be clear. And that's not going to happen if the tone of your day is rolling over, grabbing your phone, looking at emails and Slack messages, getting your kids ready for school, making breakfast, and just running from thing to thing. I believe that if you are in a season where you have kids that are dependent on you for things in the morning, you should be getting up before your kids. Like it or not, that's what I believe. That's what has truly been most impactful in my emotional regulation with the ups and downs of business and with being an entrepreneur for 14 years, and 8 of those years being with kids. So reevaluate your morning routine. Reevaluate how often you're on your phone. Reevaluate when you touch your phone. Reevaluate and honestly, I'm going to throw nighttime routine in here too, because most of y'all need to go to bed earlier. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I can't get up at 5 a.m. I'm like, you could if you went to bed at 9 p.m. It might require you watching less Netflix. It might require you setting a boundary where you don't work after your kids go to bed, but you can. So I like to bookend my day with things for me, because for me, that sets me up to be able to be more clear and focused, and actually not just do more, but be more and be fully present right where I am. So question your routine. Another habit that proactive leaders have is they communicate regularly with their team. You can't act like a solopreneur when you have a team. You have to consider the impact of the decisions that you make on other people. And I really would invite you to, if you want to build a collaborative team, then make decisions collaboratively. Bring problems to the table, ask them for their opinions and their solutions. It takes the pressure off you. And it allows you to make a decision that is likely going to affect the team as a team. The other thing that proactive leaders do daily is they're looking at their daily wins. I think one of the hardest things as an entrepreneur is that sometimes our weaknesses are our strengths, and the opposite. So for me, one of my greatest gifts is that I am able to identify problems and fix them relatively quickly. That also means that I can be hypercritical of myself and of the people that I'm in relationships with. And so knowing that I have a tendency to see the problems, to focus on the problems because I want to fix those problems, I have to remind myself to focus on the wins, to remember to celebrate the progress that we've made, to remember to celebrate anything that is relating to any sort of goal that we have, whether that's personally or professionally. But real leadership, if we take your business out of this, all of this stands, because your team is not just your team in your business. You got to think about your home team. How well are you communicating with your partner, right? And how much happier will you be when you feel like you have time to communicate with your partner? When you feel like that when you take a monthly date night, that it's not just you guys having a couple of drinks and a surface level conversation, right? So you need to evaluate your routines, have time where you focus just on you. You need to communicate with your support system, your team in your home, your team in your business, make collaborative decisions. And then you need to make sure that you are paying attention to the ways in which you are winning. This is why journaling for me is something that I do every single morning. I don't have a lot of parameters around my journaling because I've been journaling, I think at this point, for maybe 10 years. But at this point, I always practice gratitude. Whether it's something small, something big, multiple things, whether it's pages of gratitude or a few sentences, that is the one thing that stands every single day. Celebration is practicing gratitude. Celebration is remembering that thing, that initiative, that idea you had is real. Like, when was the last time you stepped back and looked at your business and your life and you were like, this was created from an idea in my head? Like, we forget that as entrepreneurs. That is incredible. You had an idea, you had something you wanted to do or create, and then you did it. And look at what that's created. And I think sometimes just remembering the small moments. Yesterday, I was doing laundry, everybody's least favorite activity. And I was putting my son's clothes into the dryer. And as I'm putting them in the dryer, I started to think, how amazing is it that I put, all of these clothes, all these shirts, all these pants, all these pajamas, like putting them, how amazing is it that my brain, my skill set has created the ability for my children to have all the clothes that they need. Those kinds of moments that we are so quick to look over make such a difference. They anchor us back in. And that sort of anchoring is what brings peace of mind and calm. To step back and say, I have built something that is busy. That means that people want something that I created. That's amazing. So make sure that you're practicing gratitude and celebrating the wins, no matter how big or small. I hope that this has given you a lot of food for thought in the way that you're leading. I hope that you really are evaluating your internal operating system and that you see how when you change, everything changes. And that you always have control over changing you. And if you really want to be a more proactive leader, not just for your business, but also for your family, and if you're tired of everything feeling heavy and chaotic, then let's discuss how I can support you in creating a clear and effective plan to make that happen. We will post the link for my consultation call in the show notes. We will also post the link to the free private podcast that is team focused, along with those resources for you to grab that today. I hope that you've enjoyed this team series. It was so fun to record and talk through all these things with you. My messages are always open. Email me, send me a DM on Instagram. I am here to help you, to help guide you. I want to see you win. I want to see you succeed. And I want to see you succeed in a way that feels fully fulfilling and is directly connected with your quality of life and your happiness. So let's create big wealth, not just in money, but also in our emotional well-being. Thank you guys for listening, and I will talk to you guys next week.